make sure we're on the same page. We get the day after Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. So the day after Thanksgiving and the day before Christmas. Okay, so we
Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, yeah.
The recognized holidays has Christmas Day and the day after on page 2 of our handout. That's why I was saying the day after.
So, which one is, where are you seeing it? It says day before on mine.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, the day before, yeah.
So, the day before Christmas, so, I think that's what we need to consider it as a finance committee, and I think that's what we need to consider as we make a recommendation.
So the county and the city don't have the day after Christmas.
The day before,
The day before.
yeah.
I think we do half day, but I'm not 100% positive. I don't know.
Say, that's not a day of a
No.
lot of work going
No.
on. My experience in working for a number of years in government and non-government jobs.
I don't know how many they have.
Glynn County has 12 holidays.
12.
The New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Good Friday, Memorial Day, Independence Day.
Well, they have Good
Labor
Friday.
Day, Veterans Day, the Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, observed according as to whether or not it falls on weekends.
So they have 12.
They have Good Friday?
Yes, they do.
Did you say Juneteenth in there?
I may be incorrect, but I thought they had added Juneteenth to their holiday
I thought
list.
they had two.
I thought they had added that to their
Well,
holiday
they
list.
added Juneteenth, so what happened to the schedule now?
Trying to figure out which one they've got.
Well, we definitely don't have Good Friday.
Yeah, they have Good Friday. That's the one they have that we don't.
City, and what does the city?
Let's see, I don't see that on the list. I see Martin Luther King, Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, the day after, and then just Christmas. But internet's been wrong before.
According to Memorial New Year's, Washington's birthday, which is President's Day, state holiday observed on Good Friday, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving. So when they added Juneteenth, they removed the day after Thanksgiving. They show Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as observed.
So they have 12? Is that 12?
New Year's Day was kind of quiet, so it's 12.
It's 12. It's 12.
So we currently have 11. If we add Juneteenth, we'd be at 12 and we would match.
Day of 13? Okay. So one way to observe the holiday, to recognize the holiday, but not have the overtime pay for holiday pay, is to give our employees a floating holiday. That way we're open, nobody's getting holiday pay on Juneteenth, and employees can use that day any day of the year they want to use it. It saves us, I think, about $19,000. Well, $19,000 would be lost production. You save us about $7,000 in double time pay. The challenge I have with Juneteenth and some of the random days is that when it falls in the middle of the week, people aren't used to that. Our customers aren't used to that being a holiday. Now, obviously, because a lot of companies don't recognize it, and a lot of companies don't observe it. So, what came first, the chicken or the egg? My experience in healthcare this year was we had an on-call staff. We recognized the holiday, but our phones were ringing off the hook, and about half our team had to come in and, or at least open up their phone lines to take phone calls. So I'm certainly open to ideas, and I'm also open to approving the motion and having more information for us to share with the full committee
Well, I'd like to move that the Finance Committee recommend approving the amendment of the Joint Water and Sewer HRSOP, Section 4.4, as shown in the attached.
I'll second the motion.
So we'll have further discussion tomorrow. All in favor?
Okay, we could do that. I mean, the one thing is, I think that the importance of the holiday, I mean, many of the holidays that we observe in this country have significance historically or regarding people. And Juneteenth is obviously one that dates back to 1865. On June 19th, Texas was the last state that abolished, that stopped slavery. And that's a really important, for a number of people in this country who are black, people that have certain moral characters that are concerned about things like that. So I think it shouldn't be treated lightly or brushed off. And nothing to do with political persuasion, only to do with the history of this country, which I think is so important to keep perspective in what's going on today. So I think this is an important thing to consider, and consider doing it on that holiday.
I would concur, and especially with the demographic of our employees and our staff, it being a national recognized holiday, and again, other entities similar to ours in the area do recognize it. So thank you.
Okay, motion carried 3-0. Mr. Burrows, capital purchase, portable CCTV.
Yes, sir. So we use CCTV technology to inspect pipelines throughout our sewer systems. There's a van, has a camera. We run a camera down the line and takes pictures of the inside of the pipeline. We do have some lines that are very difficult to inspect because they're in backyards, near buildings, and in crowded areas where vehicle access is not, you can't get to the manhole to actually get the camera equipment back there. So during the budgeting process, we ask for capital equipment requests, and staff reviews those and brings those to you as part of the budgeting process. One of the items that was listed was a portable CCTV reel. And so we went to Rapid View IBAC, which is the camera system that we use. So this works directly with the existing cameras we have. And buying this reel would cost $41,437.38 based off of a Sourcewell contract, which is a combined government purchasing contract that we have access to. We budgeted in the system something and maintenance budget $50,000 for this line item. So the request is to move forward with the purchase of the portable CCTV reel.
I get a motion for an under budget item.
That's right. This is one for the year.
Right,
So
right,
let's see how it
right.
works.
Yeah, I move that the Finance Committee recommend the purchase of one portable CCTV reel unit from JetVac Equipment Company LLC in the amount of $41,437.38 as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor? 3-0.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. We have before us the financials as of June 30th, 2024. We are coming into our audit season. June 30th was our fiscal year end. We have just started some of our adjusting year-end entries, so a lot of this information will change. Very few adjustments, accruals, receivables have been booked. So our auditors, we've reached out to them, and they are going to schedule the week of August the 26th for our designated week of field work.
Oh.
We do have our Dropbox site up. It's called ShareLink, so we can start uploading documents at any time, and they'll go ahead and work through that. But by the 26th, we need to have a final trial balance to them. On our balance sheet, we have cash and cash equivalents, a little over $4 million. That will also change. We're still getting in some of our June fees for merchant services and that type stuff that we need to book that entry. So you'll see that change just a little bit. Accounts receivable, a little over $2.1 million. Our bad debt year end, that should not change. $121,389 for allowance for bad debts. Our interest receivable, that entry has been booked, $461,000. That is for the investment portion of our interest receivable. haven't really highlighted anything else on the balance sheet. Our fixed assets, we have not done our final review to see if anything else needs to be capitalized, any projects that might wrap up or anything like that. So that is likely to change. Our construction in progress as of last week on Wednesday was $26,236,000. That number has already changed. We've had pay-apps come in at the end of the month. They come in at the beginning of the month for the month-end prior work. So we're always 2 or 3 weeks into the new year, the new month, getting that pay-app in. Page 2, customer deposits payable, a little over almost 3.1 million. That number should stay the same for year end. Any questions on the balance sheet? On to page 3, we have our summary revenue. Operating revenues, almost 5.5 over our projected budget. Interest income, again, we're gaining back some of that was lost a couple of years ago. Almost $3 million, so that's good to see. Net operating, almost 2.8. Our capital improvement fees, that number should not change. It's $3,271,420 is what we have received in capital improvement fees for new water and sewer tap fees. Our SPLOST revenues, a little over 2.8. That number will change. For June's SPLOST funds collected in the county will be sent to the state in July, and we will receive a check in August. So we will have to, we generally have 2 or 3 months delay, so we will have to still book July, August,
Right.
the June, July, and August for that.
And those checks vary from month to month, depending on how much revenue is collected.
Correct. They're hanging around the 300,000 mark for each month for the past few months. So,
Right. But the 2.8 is what we've received so far?
yes. Any questions?
Yeah, one question about that. So I don't see that broken out. I guess that those SPLOST revenues or anything, do we have anything left over from previous SPLOST referendum? Is this just from the current SPLOST referendum? Is that correct?
Yes, it's
Okay.
for the current year.
Okay.
This is what shows in our cash account for current year, yes.
Only amount remaining on any previous SPLOST projects was just, the pay-app hasn't been cut yet, was the Palm Drive water project we just did.
Under the-
Right there going underneath Frederica. That money was transferred over by the county to do water line improvements in there, so that's done, so now there are no prior SPLOST monies available for us.
Would it be possible, just for clarification, maybe for myself a little bit, but predominantly for the public, that we include in that description of the SPLOST revenues, we put the date, of the referendum in there? Would that be too much to ask?
Sure.
Just, especially as it's going to come back up on the ballot, we're clear that we've spent all the previous stuff and we're working on current stuff would, I think, be beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions on summary revenue? Okay, on to page 4. Expenses by division. Our operating expenses with the $900,000 in POs brings us a little short of 2.7 million. But I will mention that the POs, those are only purchase orders dated through June 30th. That number's already down to 841,000 as of just a few minutes before this meeting. So we are continuing to have those items come in and processed. Operating revenue, a little less than 2.8. Our net revenue before capital fees, 2.4. And again, most of these numbers have already changed and will continue we have to the end of the month is when we'll cut off all recording of expenses, and anything else from that point should be all new year.
You'll
on
cut
the
off the end of this month for
anything
last
June.
fiscal year.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we can do the final adjusting entries.
And that's
and our
when
accruals.
you'll do the carryovers from last year to the
Yes.
new accounts.
Anything not processed at that
carries over to the new.
It is remarkable.
The budget does not carry over, just we roll the purchase orders forward that they are now on this
Okay.
year.
It's remarkable how many phone calls we have to make to ask people to please send us invoices.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You think they'd want their money, wouldn't you?
You would think. Okay, we do have a tentative on group insurance through June 30th. Our, admin, stop loss is $163,000. For our self-funded expenses, $1,365,000. $41,625 is our deductible reimbursements to employees for their portion of their premium deductible, which brings us to $1,569,762, which is $95,000 under budget, but we have not booked our liability for our group insurance. And that will be estimated 2 months, so that would be one of the final entries that we book.
Right, yeah.
Any questions on group insurance? On to page 6. Supplemental schedule of cash balances. Again, our cash and our and cash equivalents, a little over $4 million. Construction fund, we still have 7.3. We will have to book another draw. We're waiting for the last pay apps that might affect our construction projects for this, and we'll submit another request, which also will have to be booked as a receivable. Page 7, our total cash equivalents, investments, all reserves, $79,464,12, and our investments total a little over $53 million. If you look on page 8, we have what makes up that $53 million. Cash 7.2, and our securities a little over $46 million.
I have a question. When our, one of these different notes mature, we generally act on them very quickly. I guess, Mr. Owens, I guess that's for you.
Essentially, it's within like 24 hours that it's invested in a new security or within the cash money market fund, the investment account.
Okay, we want to get them all in before September if possible, before the rates, rates. Okay.
To kind of go along with, I'm currently considering movement of probably $8 million in our Synovus cash reserve account
Mhm.
to the investment account. We're basically considering locking in investments that will be paying a higher rate as we start to see rates come down, which is the current expectation that rates will start to decrease probably around the end of the year.
Right.
It's something that we're definitely keeping an eye on and making sure that we're in the best possible situation as far as return and liquidity for spending on upcoming projects.
Yeah, between the interest in new customers, it actually is putting us in a much better position than we would have been without these things.
Big
So,
time.
definitely, so it's a big plus. But thank you, I appreciate your diligence on that, so.
Any other questions on investments? Page 9 and 10. This is our project cost summary. As on page 9, the bottom, the $26 million, that should equal the construction in progress on the balance sheet. Again, that number has already changed as we get in our pay apps for June.
Right.
And they will be processed against June, and then we'll rerun this report at the beginning of next month. Page 9 just gives us a breakdown. There has been a little over $17 million worth of projects have been capitalized, completed this year and capitalized. 15 million, almost 15 and a half was prior to June 30th of last year, 1.6 this year for that 17 million. We have 4 at the printing of this report. 4 projects had been completed and capitalized. And we have the breakdown of which reserves those funds come from. Any questions? All right, thank you all very much.
I do have a question, Mr. Burrows. Normally, at the end of the fiscal year, we transfer some money some additional funds over to the to the pension. Does it look like we're gonna be able to do that this year, or?
We still gotta make the final transfers on the final adjustments on the insurance. That's the major one we have to do at the end of the year, and typically that'll be in October. But I do suspect there'll be some available funds for transfer, whether it's certainly up to the board, whether that's transferred to pension or to capital projects or to some other source. So one year we did it to the group insurance reserve and stuff like that. So it's up to the board what they would like to do with those funds.
You know, I think if we got additional information about the pension and the situation, the funding level and everything, it might be helpful.
Sure.
For us to help make that decision, because it's very critical for people that are relying on it in the future, so.
Certainly, can get you that information.
Okay, great, thank
I
you.
will redo this report, the financials for June, when we do July's, because we'll have a more accurate report.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I know you're juggling two things at the time.
All right. Okay, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? 3-0.